Good afternoon, guys, and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. We are headed out to the homecoming game. It is going to be kind of chilly. I don't think it's gonna be as bad as last week. Like right now it's actually decently nice out. Like I probably look like I'm dressed for like the Antarctic compared to like how cold it is right now. But as soon as the sun goes down, it is supposed to be pretty cold like for the varsity game. So the freshman game might not be that bad, but the varsity game will probably be pretty bad. So yeah, guys, I am, like I said, all layered and bundled up. But like I told you guys last week, like I was layered up and I was like, honestly, really my hands and my feet were what was kind of more cold. And I feel like hands and feet just, you know, like there's less blood flow to like there. But like my upper body, because I was wearing so many layers, was like so warm. And like my legs even too were pretty warm. And like my head and like none of my face really felt cold. Like I said, it was more my hands and my feet. I'm gonna actually wear a different pair of gloves because I forgot that I got a different pair of gloves for Christmas last year. And those ones I think maybe a little bit better. I don't really know. I can't decide. The other ones I feel like are good. Like maybe they're not as insulated. Like these I think are more insulated. I think these ones might be a little bit warmer. Maybe we'll have to figure it out and see if my hands feel warmer than like last week. But guys, I woke up this morning at 7 o'clock when Jack left for school because it's homecoming. So he like needed to find stuff. I don't know what he was looking for. He was looking for his backpack, or Matthew's backpack that Matthew brought with to last week's game, and he couldn't find it. And finally, once I started waking up, I was like, it's probably still out in the car. Like I bet nobody brought it in, because I remember we left like everything still out in the car, like bags and, you know, blankets, all that kind of stuff. So I told him to go look out there, and I was like, now that I'm awake and my brain has had enough time to actually process things, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to fall back asleep. So I ended up staying up for like 3 hours. I kind of ate breakfast. I didn't actually like leave my room for like 3 hours. I was on my phone for probably over an hour in the morning. But again, it was like just looking at stuff, because I literally went to bed probably later than 1 o'clock last night and was up at like 7 or 6 something in the morning. And I was like, I am super tired. Like, you know, today's not going to be a good day. And so then I was like I said, I actually ended up eating and was just kind of like chilling in my room. I was watching a little TV, like, you know, trying to debate what I wanted to do, because I wanted to take a shower in the morning. So because I had to wash my hair, and I was like, I don't want to do that when we get back from the game, because I don't want to stay up late, especially if I was up at 7 o'clock this morning. Then by about 10:30 or something like that, or 10 o'clock or something like that, I ended up falling back asleep until noon. So I ended up getting up early, was up for 3 hours, 3 unproductive hours, and then fell back asleep. And like when I woke up at 7 o'clock, I was like, I know today I'm not going to be productive. Like I didn't sleep very well last night, and I was like, if I get up out of bed, I'm gonna be tired. And like I knew that going forward. And then the thing was, I took like a 2-hour nap pretty much, and then ended up waking back up and then got some stuff done. So it did kind of stink a little bit, but I will include whatever game footage I do have for you guys. I will record on my phone from the freshman game when Jack is in, most likely. I don't know really, like they're possibly supposed to win. Like they're not playing a really great team. I don't know what the team's record is, but they could win this game. You know, some games that they were supposed to win, though, they didn't end up winning. Games we didn't really think they were gonna win, that one game they won. So I don't really know. It's a complete toss-up. I'm not like taking any like we should win this game, or, you know, like we're gonna lose this game. Like nope, it depends. So we'll see, guys, but I will let you guys know once we get back from the game, and again, I'll include any footage for you guys.
Belgian.
So guys, we are back from the football game, and the freshman sophomore team did not end up winning. The final was 30 to 8. It was like 22 to 8 or 22-0, I think, going into halftime. The thing that really stunk was that we had a touchdown that was called back because the kids stepped out of bounds, like at the 25-yard line or something like that. And we couldn't get the football in the end zone. Then there was another time when it was like literally right before halftime too, was like 1st and goal or something like that. I think it was 1st and goal, and honestly we were on the like 5-yard line or something, and again they couldn't get in the end zone. So that would have put us like maybe like 14 points, or well, we don't kick field goals at the freshman sophomore level, so could have been anywhere between 12 points and like 16 points. And so yeah, they ended up, like I said, they had then 22 points. So you're thinking like 16 to 22 going into, you know, halftime. That's a pretty good game. But no, it was 0-22 going into halftime. And then we got the ball, I think, to start the half. And I think actually on that first drive they ended up scoring when we got the ball. And so it was like I think it was 8-22. And then we never ended up scoring again. And so the final was 8-30, I think. They ended up scoring one other time. But I did have one of the kids that I coached for 3 years of football, of youth football. He ended up actually having an interception, which was really awesome, and I did catch that. And there was another time too that we ended up getting a turnover. Actually, it was a strip, and the kid was literally running with the ball. Our kid and the kid, you know, the running back or whatever, literally both met at the same time, and our kid just stripped the ball out and started running down the field with it, like, at the same time. Like, it never, like, fumbled or anything like that. He just completely stripped the ball and started going down the field with it. And so, yeah, we had, I know, at least 2 good turnovers, and we, you know, again, the offense really didn't capitalize on those points. But the defense, again, they ended up giving up I think 2 of the touchdowns like early on in the game. So again, that stunk. But like everybody was kind of saying, the whole homecoming festivities throws like the kids off. And you know, not that that's a good excuse, because most of the teams scheduled their homecoming against us, and the 2 teams that did both won. So I guess that's not a really good, you know, analogy, but I think our kids didn't look like they came out to like play football like today, up until like the second half. Then, like I said, the offense was clicking, and the offense, honestly guys, the thing is, the defense, I feel like, didn't look as good as the offense looked in pretty much 4 quarters of football. I thought the offense looked pretty solid. Again, mistakes and things like that, you know, a little bit here and there, but they actually, compared to I think almost all the games, I thought they looked pretty productive, and actually kind of looked like, you know, they could move the football. And the thing was that it would have been nice if we would have had all 3 of the touchdowns that really kind of should have been touchdowns. You know, there's 2 that we didn't end up getting, and the defense would have held them to like only 1 or 2 touchdowns. It would have been a different ball game. You know, I feel like maybe if the score was different and it was only like 7-0 or a 0-0, you know, that maybe they would have ended up like getting into the game with a little bit more like, you know, a different mindset and stuff like that, and maybe the offense would have ended up scoring one of those 2 touchdowns that they didn't, and maybe then the defense comes out kind of hyped and they, you know, don't give up one of those touchdowns. But it was just like, really, like, the other team wasn't anything super special, like, you know, they have some stud running back, or they, you know, were just super disciplined and stuff like that, you know, or like the other team was just like really amazingly coached, or, you know, they ran this really special offense, or, you know, their defense was just like, you know, they kept, you know, stripping the ball and, you know, getting interceptions and all this kind of stuff. Like, they weren't insanely like crazy, you know, anything super special, or, you know, just a whole bunch of like really fast kids on the team, or a whole bunch of really just big kids on the team, like some of the teams that we ended up losing to. Like, you know, these kids looked like they actually too, they had less kids than we did, which was also kind of weird. But I just think our kids, like, were not ready to come out and play football. Like, they just didn't look like it. Like, again, if it had been this same team that we had played maybe last week or something like that, I think that the outcome might have been different. But I think that, you know, they just, like, you know, but last week though, our kids didn't really look like they came out to play football. Honestly, I feel like it's the cold. Like, for some reason, like, they're not warmed up and they're not hyped like they were 2 weeks ago when they won the game. Like, I don't know, something just looks really different and off these last 2 games with them. But what I do also have for you guys is a fun little clip, because the varsity won though today, which was awesome. Like, I was so, like, you know, like, just, I was gonna be so sad if they didn't win at least one game this year, you know, because they, you know, some of those kids that are seniors, and, you know, there's one kid whose brother played with Matthew, and Matthew was actually, they both played cornerback, and he actually ended up having what would have been the game-ending interception, but there was a flag on the field, so they ended up calling it back. So I have a clip for you guys, 2 actually, maybe it's 3, of them storming the field, which Matthew went and did, because Matthew had never got to storm the field because they didn't win a game at home last year. The game that they won was away, and the last 4 years before that, when Matthew played football, you know, he was on the field and he never went and stormed the field. And I think his freshman year he could have, but they never, I don't know if they ever won any of the games his freshman year. Maybe they did, but he was just like, I've never got to storm the field, so I want to do it when they win. You know, because they were up. I think the final was 20-8, I think was the final or something like that. It was a really close game, and the thing was that there was 2 opportunities actually that we could have had it touchdowns, and we settled for field goals, and so it was 3 points, you know, 6 points in total. And then there was, I think, a different time when maybe, then they scored a touchdown maybe, and then they got another 3 points or something like that. I have to figure out how it all adds up to make sure that that's right. No, they got 2 touchdowns. I'm sorry, guys. They got 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points, which would have been 14, and then they got the 2 field goals. So then they ended up scoring a touchdown, but they were down at that point. I think it was, yeah, because it was 6-8. And then when they scored the touchdown, it was 13-8. So we were up by what would have been, you know, they would have been able to get a touchdown. It ended the game, you know. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I really hope that they don't. But we actually ended up having an interception, not the one that I'm gonna show you guys, but one before that. And I think, or fumble recovery, something like that. And they got the ball back and actually ended up taking it back downfield again and scored again. So the final was 20-8. So varsity game was actually a really good game. It was really awesome too, to, you know, be able to kind of be a part of that, because it was their homecoming game, plus it was also their senior night too. So again, like, for a lot of those seniors, and like I said, a few of them were still, you know, kids that were playing maybe at like JV level when Matthew was a senior, and, you know, stuff like that. So I thought it was just a really neat, cool, fun win for them, and, you know, just like a good experience, I guess. So that's why, like, Matthew, he ended up storming the field. But the problem was, like I said, so the game really was about ready to end, and all the kids are, you know, running out on the field to go storm the field at the end of the game. They all get out on the field, and the announcer's like, okay, you guys all have to go back now because there's a flag out on the field. So all the kids go back on the sidelines, and then they have one more pass, and they didn't end up completing it, and it was, you know, the time had run out anyway. So, like, honestly, I don't know why you're just like, okay, it doesn't matter at that point, because the time had run out, but you can't end. So they were down more than a touchdown at that point. It was a 2-point, you know, a 2 possession game, and so even if the time had run down, but you can't end a play on a defensive, you know, penalty. So they, like I said, they threw one pass, which even if they would have gotten a touchdown and like a 2-point conversion, it still wouldn't have mattered because it was still a 2-possession game. I don't know why they still had to throw the, you know, the football for that very last play, but they get all the kids off, they do it, and then the kids all kind of just stormed out on the field, but it wasn't as intense as the first time. So they ended up doing it again, and then kind of followed the whole team down to the sidelines, which again I thought was really cool. And
intercepted by the Wildcats number 20, Omar Contreras. The flag on the play.
It's one play.
That's the game. Wildcats 20, Sabres 8.
Some of those sophomores that were playing up, one of the sophomores had a touchdown, which I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. So like, you know, that whole kind of thing, like it's just a big team effort, plus it's senior night for some of those kids. But you know, like I felt kind of bad too. I'm like, I want them to at least win one game. Like, you know, the freshman sophomore team at least won one game. You know, it would have stunk if it was like they didn't win one game all season. And the same thing with the varsity too. Like, you don't want a team to not win a game. And this team too, I heard, beat a few other teams, so it wasn't like they were like, you know, just like a completely, you know, team that never won anything. You know, we beat a team that's beaten other teams too, probably teams that beat us because we're in the same, you know, conference or whatever, and we didn't end up winning any of the other games against any of the other teams so far, other than the last game of the season. But I'm not sure how that one's gonna go because last year I don't think they did very well. Which against the school that they played the last game of the season last year against the same team that they're gonna be playing this last game of the season, but they played them at home last year. So yeah, but tomorrow Jack has got homecoming, the dance. So it, like I said, it stunk for the freshman sophomore team because they, like I said, just looked a little lethargic and sluggish and stuff like that when they came out onto the field to start the game off. But they played really good football in the second half. I thought the defense played really well, and like figured out what was going on and stuff like that. And like I said, the offense did too. And the offense, like I said, consistently seemed like they played good, but I think they stepped it up more in the second half, I guess. But again, it was just, you know, like I thought it was a huge thing too when like the offense, I think it was either maybe their second drive or something like that, and they scored that touchdown that was called back at like the 20-yard line or whatever because the one kid stepped out. But I was like, wow, this is a huge game changer. Like, you know, we're normally the offense isn't like hot, you know, very early, and the defense looks kind of, you know, like I said, sluggish and like let up kind of some easy touchdowns and stuff like that. But yeah, it, like I said, it was stunk because I think they could have won again if it was maybe under different circumstances. But I think they just were all kind of, you know, they had the parade today, and then they also did like powder puff game, and they did I think they had like a lunch, like picnic grill thing or something like that. I don't know what it was, but you know, they had like all this stuff going on today, so it's just like so much. And then you're like, okay, now you guys go and play football, plus you also had school for half the day today, plus, you know, like the kids didn't get to go home, relax, you know, that kind of thing, decompress from school. And then, you know, and even though they don't after school day, I think like the transition is like, okay, you're done with school, now you go into a football game. But they were all hanging out and goofing around and, you know, just, you know, doing stuff that kids do. And so then they go to a football game, and your whole mindset, I think, has to change now, and it's not always that easy. And I don't know if other schools normally do half days on Friday before prom, but our school, I think, has always done that. I assume that they do, just because, like I said, we do like the powder puff game, and they do, but see, I've seen some schools do that like in the morning, or like later, like, or before the Saturday, like, you know, just not normally then. I've seen a few schools do that, but like I said, I don't really know if that is really common. But yeah, I think that just, like I said, for the freshman sophomore team, their headspace wasn't in it. And like for the varsity though, they get more time to practice and prepare and, you know, prep and stuff like that than the freshmen do, you know, the freshman sophomore team, because the varsity gets to do that pretty much through the beginning time, like that the freshman sophomore team's playing, and those kids don't. They pretty much went straight from this to, you know, they're hanging out and fun and socializing and all that kind of stuff straight into a game, and sometimes it's a little distracting, I think. But yeah, like I said, once they warmed up, they looked good. So that was the thing that stunk, was like, if we would have just kind of erased that first half, they probably would have ended up winning the game. At least tied it, because like I said, I think they only scored, we scored one and they scored one in the second half, which was, you know. Anyways, though, guys, I need to go get in the shower and get to bed. I will see you guys all on tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.